Okay.
Now, before this episode starts, Austin and I are going to need you to download this episode. You can say things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, download this episode
Yeah.
because that's how we get a little bit of money from doing this stuff, and it's not like anything crazy, but it helps us keep making more episodes for you guys to listen to.
Yeah, so download and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, enjoy this episode with Eli. It is a really good one. Share this with your grandmother. We love you and enjoy.
Josh, when we start, make sure you hit record.
What? I don't want to because I want to have another failed podcast.
Are we getting going?
I mean, are you ready? Anybody who's listening, welcome back. This is the Dangerous Nights of Drifting podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Leatherbarrow, and I am absolutely terrible at this. And today, my co-host is Austin.
That would be me,
Faye.
Austin Faye.
Who are you waving to?
I don't know. Myself and Eli.
Oh, well, you just...
I can't see you, so.
Oh, jeez.
Well, then just you, Josh.
Oh, great. Today we have a very, very special guest. If you don't know, now you're gonna. He drifts interesting vehicles. Apparently he used to do stunt bike stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know that until like 2 days ago.
We'll get to that in a second because he's like 30 feet tall. Yes, our guest today is Eli. How do you pronounce your last name?
Lussier. Lussier, however. Depends on how French you are, I guess.
I was going to say, I figured it was more like Lussier, but...
I'm not even going to pronounce it. So, our guest today is Eli. He has a pretty sweet Corvette. It does unnatural LS things.
It's really cool.
It revs to 8,500 RPM. It goes with boost noises. It's incredibly quick. And I'm literally just rambling at this point. I'm sorry, guys. Let's start at like the beginning. Like not even before drifting, because I'm assuming you didn't just birth a drift driver.
No. So I grew up actually kart racing, oval kart racing. I started racing at like 6.5 years old. They wouldn't even let me like actually race. They only let me practice because I was too young. And then I turned 7 and I ran 6 races that year. I won 3 of them, got second in the other 3. And then, I raced for 7 years after that. Stopped racing at 14. My dad got a little cheap 4-cylinder car we were building. He got cancer. We had to sell it. And got out of racing for a while. Got my license. Got into off-roading. I was into off-roading. And then, got into stunt riding. And I did that for like 6 years. And then we lost our legal spot to ride. So, and I had a business and everything. So I'm like, I'm not going to take it to the street. And kind of just stumbled upon drifting. I had friends that were into drifting. Jake, that owns Limiter Gloves. He's a good friend of mine. He kind of was like, hey, come by. And Nedco at the time is 15 minutes from my shop. So I went down to Nedco and I had a CTSV. It was completely stock, like nothing done to it. It had like cold air intake and a cat back. And I asked one of the owners, I'm like, hey, could I like try this? And he's like, sure, go for it. And I had a helmet and everything. And yeah, I did a couple of laps. The power steering pump was blown, so I had no power steering. And I almost linked the whole course the first time. And I was like, oh, this is kind of sick. So I ended up cutting the knuckles on it, built a hydro bracket, mounted some calipers, and started drifting that completely, stock suspension. And then it just evolved from there. I started building the black CTSV, it was a base model CTS, but started building that and made coil over kits with ISC for it, and made angle kits for those cars and all kinds of stuff. So, and then realized that I wanted to get in competing. Realized that wasn't the chassis to do it. So last year bought a C5 and built it into what is now pretty much a pro car.
What,
Indeed, it is.
so what about like the CTS platform like made you stick with it for so long? Like how long did you drift like that platform for?
So I started drifting in 22. That was my first year of drifting. So I drove that for a year and a half. I blew up my first Caddy twice. And then I actually drove a 350Z for like a year and a half while I was
Hell
building
yeah.
the black car.
Gross.
It was a stock HPR 350Z. It had like the cheapest coilovers and an FDF mild kit on it, but it worked really well. I learned a lot in that car. The real reason I stuck with the CTS platform is really like there was at Nedco I could have my kids in the back seat. And Lock City doesn't allow that, so that kind of sucked. But then once I finished the black CTS, Drift East, they opened up their events up in Groveton, New Hampshire, which is like 2 hours north of me, and they allowed the kids in the car in the back seat. So it was really cool being able to have my kids in the car with me, and I'm freaking caving in people's doors, and the kids are in the back seat waving at people. It's great. So,
Yeah.
it's that was kind of what really did it for me. My kids are getting older, and they're a little more helpful now. So it's like they're in the pits helping me get the car prepped in between, rounds of drifting and stuff. So it's super cool. Like my daughter's always filling the ice chest because it's got a watered air cooler. My son's usually helping my spotter. So
That's pretty cool. It's really nice to like
yeah,
get everybody involved.
yeah.
Because like
They were great. Like this winter, we were at the shop every weekend. Every weekend I had them. I have them every other weekend. So, but they were at the shop building the car with me every weekend that I had them. So that was really neat.
it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So let's talk about this CTS that you had before, because that car was different. If
The black one.
yeah, the black one. Like what?
Yeah. So that started out. That was a base model. I paid like $500 for that car. It was in somebody's backyard, pine pitch all over it, just rotting away. And I bought it literally just to kind of turn it into like a mock CTSV. So I, put an LS in it. I originally had an MB 3500 out of a truck in it.
Oh,
And I changed that out before finishing the car. And I found a pretty good deal on the tranny that's in the vet now. It's an old Rankin 4-speed, so it's like a late 90s ARCA car transmission.
Yep.
It's a 4-speed dog box, straight cut gears. Found a pretty good deal on that, so I ended up putting that in it instead. And I didn't realize at the time like how much maintenance dog boxes need, and it was a grassroots car. So that was a mistake on my part, but it ended up working out in the end building the vet. But yeah, it was just supposed to be a party car. I mean, like I said, I built angle kit. I designed and developed angle kits for those cars. They're basically bolt-on with a little bit of grinding to the lower control arm. You can get almost 60 degrees out of them with my kit.
it's not bad.
Almost zero Ackerman and zero bump steer. So they drive pretty well for what they are. It keeps all the stock control arm geometry and stuff. So they're not like super great, but they're good for like a party car. And then I built for my car. I didn't never jigged it up or anything, but for my car, I built a grip kit for the rear, so it had progressive toe gain in the rear, and that worked pretty well. But it definitely it just wasn't a great chassis. I built the car; it's got like a full 4-door cage in it and stuff, so it's heavy. It weighs like 3,700 without me in it.
Yeah, it's a big
Dang.
car.
And then I tried competing, in pro-am against 2,500 pound cars out there, and realized real quick that I was getting stepped on pretty hard by cars with way less power because they could actually dig out of a hole.
Do you still have that car?
Yeah, so it's just sitting for now. I pulled a bunch of the parts out of it for the vet. So like the rear CV joints are in the vet, the stub shafts are in the vet. transmission, the water pump. There's just a bunch of like, nickel and dime stuff when building a car like that I pulled out of it just to save me some money at the time. But yeah, it's sitting. I do have some plans for it in the future. I think I want to do some stuff with it, but we'll see how that works out.
Because it's a very like unique car to see drifting, and especially to see competing, with it being just so large.
Yeah, it's a big car for sure. It did stuff. I made it do stuff that it probably shouldn't have done, and I didn't realize that until I drove my Corvette, and I was like, oh, this is what a drift car is supposed to drive like.
See, I like to think that driving a car that shouldn't be driven well makes you a better driver in a car that does drive well.
100%.
I would like to agree with that for sure, because it was like when I got the Vet. So, excuse me. When I got the Vet, it was pretty much set up. Like it had Wise Fab, it had Feels, it had a inline hydro, but it was pretty stock. Other than that, like it had a LS6 with headers, full interior. Like it was just somebody's number 125 of 3,000 for the year yellow Z06 that some grandpa owned, and then my buddy Phil just jammed a bunch of parts on it and absolutely freaking totaled the thing pretty much. But yeah, I got it. It needed a rack, so I threw a rack in it and just kind of went through the car. I did 2 events on it, and my 3rd lap in the car, I was dooring a friend of mine, like just caving his door in. I'm like, this is absolutely insane. Like I didn't know this is how a car is supposed to go. And then my 2nd event with the car was a street series competition at Lock City, and I ended up taking 3rd on that. Jimmy Oakes took me out in top 3 or top 4, and then I battled for 3rd, and yeah, I ended up getting 3rd, so that was pretty sick.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thanks.
So then you went full race car on this thing.
Yep. Yeah, so it was a 7-month thrash. The weekend after Lock City, I tore it down to a bare chassis. Yeah, I started building the cage for it and just went full stupid. Racked up thousands of dollars in credit cards and just to get like the quick change and a bunch of other stupid, really expensive parts. But it's, I kind of looked at it. I was going to build it as like just a Pro-Am thing. A Pro-Am car. It needed a transmission, so that automatically was money that I needed to spend, or I needed to, put the tranny from the caddy into that. So I'm like, if I'm gonna spend 30 grand doing like a Pro-Am Corvette, which it really needs because it only made 400 horse, so it needed at least cam and heads to get to power level to run a 265, competitively. I'm like, all right, well, if I throw cam and heads at this LS6, I still need a tranny. I still need all this. So I'm like, 10 grand into getting enough power, and then, still needed to do the cage, still needed to do different cooling system. Like it just needed a lot of stuff. I would have ended up spending 30 grand on it to get it to a point where it was competitive in Pro-Am. And I'm like, all right, well, I could do that, or I can spend like probably 50 and make it a full pro spec ready car. So that's what I did. And the way I thought of that, and I'm like, well, if I spend, the extra money to make it pro spec legal and ready, at least it's worth a bunch more money. Like it's, quick change dog box, it's link ECU, it's got fire suppression, it's got, the only thing it's missing is a SFI bell housing and a drive shaft hoop. Put those 2 things in, and it's legal, ready for pro spec. So if I'm able to get my license, I can jump right into pro spec, and I'm familiar with the car. And I'm one in tune with it, and hopefully start doing good in pro spec if I'm able to get there. It seems like a lot of people, from my perspective, that go from Pro-Am to pro spec, they build a new car, and then they're fighting themselves the whole first year. So
Yep, 100%. It seems the last 4 or 5 years in a row in pro spec.
Right. So I kind of figured if I have a car that I drove in Pro-Am that is good enough, good to go for Pro Spec, at least I'm familiar with it. And, I got one foot up on the other rookies in Pro Spec. If I get there, we'll see.
So where does that put you in points for the season?
So our first round of Pro-Am, as you know, that was fairly early in the year. What was it? It was end of May.
Yep.
Yeah.
I finished the car at the beginning of May. My first test day was like May 10th or something like that, May 11th. That was a wild weekend. But so I drove the car at one test day at a small event up in Groveton, New Hampshire, Drift the East. And it's a very small parking lot type event. So I tested the car there. I didn't have an alignment in it, so I was literally half the day spent just making chassis adjustments to get it so it would actually drive. Like literally first lap out, I just parked the thing. Like wouldn't even drive. I'm like, oh, I have like no caster in this, so I just kept winding caster in it to get it so it would work. So that was half of my first test day was done just putting an alignment in it. And then I found a couple of issues with a couple ground wires and just nuts and bolts stuff. And then we literally loaded up and went to Erie. I stopped at Big Indian Drift Pit. Eric's been a wicked good guy to me.
Mm-hmm.
So we stopped there on the way to Erie. I drove his compound and gave it a real good shakedown. It drove awesome. But literally the first lap that I did around his compound, I went to shift it into fourth gear and it didn't go into fourth. There was no fourth gear. So that was like, oh, what the hell happened? So it didn't grind. It didn't make any noise. Nothing came apart. So I wasn't like overly concerned. And I wasn't planning on running fourth gear at the layout at Erie.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like a super big concern of mine. So we ended up loading up from there, went to Erie, and practice was going pretty good. Car drove really good. I was figuring out the layout. And then right at the end of practice, I'm like, I have like either this thing is like hooking up super bad or I have like no boost. So I pulled into the pits, went to change tires, and I'm like listening. I'm like, I hear a big exhaust leak. So looked, and all the turbo bolts had loosened up and blew the turbo gasket out.
Oh.
So now the thing's hot as the sun, and it's almost the end of practice. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. So we were, and then like we lost all the nuts on all the turbo. So luckily, like my sway bar is right under the turbo. So it literally, like the turbo loosened up and just rested on the sway bar.
Oh wow!
But all the nuts were gone. I think 2 of the bolts were gone. So it literally like it was a stock, it was a cammed 4.8 at that point in time. The thing was making no power. So we ended up finding bolts in the paddock. I always carry a spare turbo gasket in the trailer. So we got it back together before qualifying. We didn't end up getting out for another lap in practice. So I went out for qualifying. So now I have boost again. So the last like 3 laps in practice were I had no power. So I was like super messed up with that. And then
that was unpredictable.
And then I seem to have this thing where I want to make changes right before, something big happens. So we had power, and I mean, it's a judge sport, so I always try to put on a show. So I hit the anti-lag button, so it made all sorts of cool poppy banging noises as well, and it had lots of power. And on the run-up, I overshot the run-up by a lot, knocked over the initiation cones, and then just I couldn't figure out how to drive the car after that. It was just bad. So I qualified pretty low. It wasn't great. I ended up getting paired up with Dirk Stratton, who, as if any of you guys know, is like the Corvette.
We know Dirk.
So he's a wicked good guy, but I ended up getting paired up with him. A couple of times in practice, the front end washed out on me. And of course, in my chase run, front end washed out. So I ended up, just grabbing handbrake, reinitiated behind him. I ended up catching him pretty quickly. It was like 2 zones, and I was caught back up to him, and then I was with him pretty much the rest of the chase lap, and then my lead, I threw it in, and as if you guys compete at Lake Erie, seeing the zone sometimes can be kind of hard.
Yeah, it's real difficult
God knows
sometimes.
that.
So I thought I was in the zone. I was like 4 feet inside of the zone, so didn't get into outer zone 3 at all. Ended up transitioning out to outer 5 because there was an inner clip. Yeah, so outer 5, I got out there, got into it perfectly, and then there's a huge slowdown because it was like a mini Atlanta essentially. So 5 would be the one going up the hill, and got into that. I was hauling ass, and then went to get back on throttle, and it was in neutral. So I ended up finding out. So I didn't try to get it back into gear or nothing. I just pulled off track. So
Yeah.
I double zeroed essentially and lost the battle. So I'm pretty far down. I think I'm 25th in points with 1 point. So that's cool. But it was the car's essentially 3rd event, if you really want to think of it that way, because like I did 1 half event, then I did a little bit of testing at Big Indian, and then went straight into competition. So car was fairly still untested. I was still fairly new with it. So I feel like we did pretty good for myself and the what I had for experience with the car. But yeah, so live and you learn. I just yesterday pulled the training, or 2 days ago pulled the training apart and inspected everything to make sure, because we got around it. Next event I'm doing is Erie again. Is the doubleheader weekend we got. So
Yep.
I just want to make sure everything is ready for that. Yeah, that'll be a good time. I'm excited about that one. So
Well, for it, I have something to help motivate you. All right?
okay.
So the podcast is going to pay you $10 per battle won.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Now, another thing, if we get paired up in a battle, and if you beat me, the podcast will pay you $100.
Ooh. Oh man.
But
All right.
if we get paired up and you lose, you get nothing.
That sounds good to me. I'm okay with that.
You cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it's
I like the incentive.
Yes.
Give them a little drive.
yeah,
know?
a little bit of push.
All right. I'm going to take you up on that offer.
Oh, absolutely. That's for round 2, not round 3, because we ain't rolling in that
Yeah,
much.
I'll
Just
money.
round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I like that round. I like the mini E-Town. That's
Me
a fun
too. It's I think my favorite layout. Because
Yeah.
I like the first 2 rounds.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for round 3. I didn't drive that one last year because I popped the motor in the caddy rather, just before it. So but I'm really excited. There's a lot of walls there.
yeah, there
which-
is.
And that's huge with that place because, again, can't see the zones. So at least if there's a wall, I know to be near the wall. And I'm also not scared of walls. I like walls. I think they're cool.
See, I struggled with that layout last year. For some reason, like there was a gap in like the cones, and I thought that's where we were supposed to enter into that like alley there. And my brain, for some reason, just kept putting me there. So like, I would just stop driving to go to the wrong part of the track. And like, if it's going to be that way this time, I'm gonna have to say something to the driver's meeting and be like, close that hole, because my brain wants me to drive there, and it doesn't make any sense.
Should they put a wall there?
Yeah. Just so my brain's like, don't go there. Or my brain will be like, go there, and I'll just do
Clearly
a
that doesn't
kickflip.
work for the FD guys, though. So
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Which
I think there should be a wall everywhere. We just drive through an alleyway of walls.
you guys
Right,
have
right.
been paying attention what's happening in Indy right now, right? Like for the
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
Oh, that's why I made the joke about the wall.
That's what I'm,
that's what I
dude.
figured.
And like, I don't want to say bad
move
things
the
about
wall.
these guys because like they earned their spots there.
Yeah.
But like, Where are they
So
going?
so I see it, and so I think that track itself is just is difficult. It looks like it's a really like long sweeping bank,
Yeah.
but it looks like it doesn't have a lot of banking. So
It doesn't.
I think what's happening is like they have to be going pretty good to stay up there because it's a very long corner. So essentially, it's a fast corner, but it has no bank. So if you notice, like as soon as everybody goes to rotate to drive into the infield, the cars back up into the wall.
Yeah.
They're not like
Yep.
sliding down the hill like it would on a normal like steep bank. And then that's as soon as they touch the wall, it just throws them into the it keeps them up on the bank, and they end up going into that 90-degree wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what's going on. Is it's just not steep enough banking to keep them from going up the hill, and it's too long of a corner where they're going fast. So I think it's just a mix of things. The people I noticed that were doing the best, they were like handbraking like halfway through that zone. So like they were slowing the cars way down before. Because I guess that was another issue from what I was seeing on drivers' Instagrams and stuff, is there was no designated braking zone. So like you couldn't get
Yeah, there was
deducted
not
for
a
braking too
defined
early.
decel zone, right?
Right. So the drivers that were doing the best were braking like way early, which seemed to help a lot. So I think it was just one of those things. And then obviously in the chase, you get you're tunnel vision. You're on that chase driver, the lead driver's door. You're just watching what they're doing. So if they're way off, you're gonna follow them.
Now, what are your thoughts on them canceling the event due to water?
I mean, I really don't see what else they could have done, in all honesty. It's one of the unfortunate situations. I think FD probably should have done maybe their research a little bit better. Maybe they did. Maybe they don't normally have water issues in that. I know they put down more pavement, so maybe the new pavement caused water issues in the infield.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think that FD would have done their research on the facility to see how bad the infield gets flooded.
Yeah.
But again, it's tough to call.
Amazing to me though that like a place like Indianapolis Raceway Park doesn't have some sort of drainage already in place in that infield. And like I agree with what you're saying, but they put a lot of new pavement in, so that could have affected it. But it's still at the
Right.
same point they should have had some sort of drainage in the infield to not literally have a lake form.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just such a weird situation to me. But again, I don't know. It's tough to tough to say on this side of it. I try to always look at everything in a positive light. FD's doing amazing things. And they changing 3 tracks up this year. I can't imagine what that takes from a logistical standpoint. Trying to get 3 tracks prepped and ready for FD, like that's just crazy. So I think FD's doing a good job. Connecticut, I was there. That was absolutely such a sick round. Everybody loved it. So
Yeah, Stafford looked really nice.
Going from the arguably the best round of FD ever to arguably the worst round of FD ever, it's kind of a wild thing, but I feel like it's going to happen. It's just inevitable.
So we didn't talk too much. What's the engine platform for the Corvette like? Give us the details on that.
So Golan Engine built the long block for me. It's a 5.3 aluminum block, so it's like an LC9 block, like what you get out of a pickup truck, from 07 to 13. So we put Gen 4 4.8 rods and crank in it, and I had going balance, a little rotating assembly. It needed to be punched out a little bit. Cylinders had a little scoring in them, so they punched them 10 over. We went with forged pistons, and then so essentially that makes it a 4.8. The 4.8 and the 5.3 share the same bore, but the 4.8 has a shorter stroke, so they have to use a longer rod with the shorter stroke. But I wanted the weight savings of the aluminum block, so that's why I went the route that I did. Stock heads, they're stock $799 heads that come off of that same 5.3. and it's just got a bunch of good valve train parts. It's got Johnson short travel lifters they're link barred. It's got BTR shaft drive rockers. They're high RPM valve springs. It's got 108 thousandths wall push rods. What else? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Engine wise, it's got a custom ground cam motion cam, and then it's full dry sump. It's got a 3-stage dry sump system in it.
Dang.
Yeah, just feed it the boost. The really cool thing about I actually posted in my story yesterday, the one really cool thing about the 4.8 is the piston speed is so slow that you can put like a ton of timing in it. So like at 6 pounds of boost at 8,500 RPMs, it has 29 degrees of timing in it.
That's
Holy
insane.
fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, I'm on ethanol too, but it's just because the piston speed is so slow, you almost can't detonate it. Like it's insane. And I mean I kick its ass all the time. I mean it lives at like 8,500. I pulled into my shop yesterday with it. I like went for just a test hit on the street, like just to shake it down and make sure. I found a couple of issues that I had. Like one of the caps on the end of my wastegate came off, so it was essentially just gate spring. And there was just a couple other stupid things. So I just did some test hits on the street just to make sure that it was building boost and everything. And I came back in, I put it in first gear and just let it eat up by my shop, and then I checked the data log of all that. And at the end of it, when I was just in first gear, it actually saw like 8,944 RPMs.
Jeez.
So it went past the rev limiter a little bit. But I mean, it just works. It's a really cool engine combo. I've got a really long runner intake on it. It's an LSXR, so it's like good for mid-range power. It doesn't do good up top, but it still carries the RPM up there, which essentially, like the way a lot of these FD teams build, have their setups is they start pulling either boost or they pull power up top. So essentially the wheel speed is the only thing they want up there. They don't need the power. They just want the power. They just want the wheel speed. And my motor setup essentially does that naturally. So it makes power from like 4,300 to like 6,500, and then it starts to fall all the way to 85. It makes so it made on 12 pounds, it made 580, and that was at like 6,500. It fell off. It made 500 at 8,500. So it's still making good power, but it definitely had a pretty hard fall. So, but it's super easy to drive. I just have it geared to the point where it works, and then I just play with the clutch a lot.
Okay. So why turbo over everything else? Is it just the cost?
Well, yeah. So I mean, I'm not. I would really, in all honesty, I would really like an NA motor. I think that's the best thing you can do in drifting, because you have the torque, and then as long as you can spin it high RPM, it's gonna do what you want.
Just more
However,
parts too.
yeah, and it saves on heat and everything. Like that's the problem with a turbo setup is heat management. But it give me just a sec, hold on. That's the problem with the turbo stuff is heat management. It definitely gets warmer. But the reason I really am not a supercharger guy. I think superchargers are stupid in my eyes. It robs power to make power.
Yeah.
So you're going to build more heat because you're robbing power to make power. B, every single supercharger person out there has had belt issues, and I mean literally yesterday.
Josh is the victim of the supercharger belt issues.
Yeah, like, I mean literally, yesterday, one of the 4 battles that they got off, the very first battle in top 32, freaking who was it? Who had a supercharger issue? Who pulled off?
I wasn't watching, so
I forget somebody, but yeah, pulled off because of supercharger belt issues. Literally, very first battle, they did their lead, and then they went to chase, and they pulled off because they had to do their comp timeout for a supercharger belt. It's like, how many times are you going to shoot yourself in the foot with supercharger before you just say, I'm going to do something different?
Yeah, it took
We
me.
drove around Midvale. We drove around New Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for like 3 hours the one weekend we were at Midvale because Josh blew a supercharger belt and we couldn't
Just trying to
find
find
one.
something, just something that worked.
Yeah.
Right.
And it lasted like a second. So
Yeah.
supercharger.
I mean,
suck.
that's the biggest thing with supercharger. And I'm a huge reliability person. I don't want to work on my car at the track. I want to show up at the track. I want to be able to just drive. That's it. Like, the more driving you can do, the better you're going to get at the layout, and the more you're going to get, the more in tune you're going to get with your car. If you're working on it all the time, then you're going to lack everything everybody that's driving is. So I really am a fan of reliability. When I built my vet, I thought of every possible outcome as far as reliability standpoint. Not so much. I thought a lot about serviceability, but reliability was bigger to me than serviceability. So, like, for me, there's a few things on the car. Like, to do a transmission service, I have to remove a section of my exhaust. So, like, to drain the tranny, I have to remove a section of exhaust to do that. But it makes it so my exhaust is in a point. It's not getting anything hot. It's not causing issues with anything else. So that was a big thing to me, is just make it reliable. And then the serviceability I just deal with at the shop. So
I like that. Because, again, with superchargers, like, I'd get like a lap and have to like sit and cool down because everything just got so hot.
Yeah.
And
do you have a what kind of supercharger do you have? You have like a Pro Charger?
No, it was an LSA, and I ran that for like
so that's
5 years before I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I had to take it off.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing I would say, if you're running like an air-to-air cooler or a water-to-air cooler with like an LSA or any style roots blower, you pretty much have to go. You have to put an ice chest in it to keep it cool.
Yes, but that sucks.
I went. I went water-to-air with the vet. It is absolutely amazing for comps because I literally get 2 laps out of my ice in the ice chest, and then we have to refill it. And my intake air temps stay like at 100 degrees. Like, it's insane. But it's time consuming. It takes pretty much a dedicated person to fill that ice chest.
Oh yeah.
Because we throw 2 bags in it every time we come off track after, for battles. And so, like, usually that's my daughter's job. Freaking my crew guy changing tires, he pops the cap and she fills it drains it, fills it full of ice, and then, that's it. But it definitely is a time consuming thing. It's just like the nitrous guys that, they have one designated crew guy to swap out nitrous bottles and stuff. So, but my intake air temps stay cool. As a grassroots setup, it sucks. It's horrible. Yeah. My intake air temps after like 3 laps start getting up there. And I'm very much like, I watch all my stuff closely. I pay attention, to what my temps are doing and stuff. But so I try not to blow my stuff up. I don't care about beating on it. Like, I'll beat the crap out of it, but as long as everything's staying cool, we're good. And by cool, I don't mean cool to most people's stands. The engine coolant temp in the vet has seen 260 quite a few times.
Oh my god!
But in all fairness, I'm running like a 33-pound radiator cap, so it doesn't start boiling over till it like sees like 270. So and boiling over is where stuff goes really wrong. Once you start getting air into the system, that's when stuff is going to start moving around. So 260, I'm not scared about. But
Adam's car may have seen 260 a couple times.
Yeah, but it's a 4.8.
You gotta think too, like it's an LS, so like the cylinder heads aren't very long and wide, like most of the straight 6 guys. So there's not a lot of room for everything to move around. And I'm running relatively low boost, like I'm running 12 pounds at the most. So like I'm not like putting like 20, 25 into the thing,
Right.
where, a little bit of shift in the head gasket and it's going to freaking push it out. So, um, yeah, I think I might have figured out my issue with that too. I had my turbo cooling system plumbed in a kind of a weird way, I guess. Um, Basically, it was creating a loop in the cooling system. So I think I just got rid of the coolant hoses going to the turbo, and I think it hopefully has solved some of my cooling issues. So
Well, that's good. So, what are your plans then for the rest of this year? Like, what are your goals and whatnot?
so I definitely I want to at least make it past top 32 at Great Lakes Pro-Am. I did it last year in the Caddy on one of the rounds, so I feel like I can do it again in the vet. I seem to either always kind of screw myself over, or I just have terrible luck. It seems like luck has always been my biggest issue. I always get paired up with really good drivers, and I would say out of all of the competitions that I've done, more than not, I've gotten stacked up against somebody in top 32 that has podiumed. So like this past round at E-Town Gambler, I got stacked. I qualified 8th. The guy I battled qualified 9th, and he ended up winning. Last round of Pro-Am, I didn't qualify very well. I got stacked up against Dirk. He ended up getting 3rd. So it's just, usually the people I get paired up with end up taking it to the finals. So it's kind of a good feeling that I got knocked out by them, but it's like, I know I have the capabilities and the driving skill to also beat them. So it's like, I just got to put it together. But yeah, if I get past top 16 or past top 32 in any rounds of Pro-Am, I'm going to be happy. I really want to, obviously be on the podium. I think I have the skills. I know I have the car to do it. I think talking with people from, Erie, I had one of the top 5 fastest cars in practice on the last round. So I know the car's fast enough. I just need to, make sure I'm mentally prepared enough to do what I need to do with it. So, yeah, obviously podium would be amazing, but it's my first year in this car and, my second year competing. So I just need to, figure it all out.
Yeah, shake the cobwebs off and get the good laps in, and you got it. I believe in you.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like the biggest struggle I've been struggling with too, like going to the Gambler, it was nice because like it is a road course, so there's an edge of track, and then they paint the zones super heavy. So being able to see the zones, like I was on edge of, like I ended up qualifying with like an 86 and a half. So
Yeah,
it was a pretty solid qualifying.
You did have a good qualifying run.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a little higher than that, but I see where the judges came from. I pulled out of a couple of zones a little bit early, and I really should have like put it in the wall. Again, on the bank there, but I feel like I probably could have been a little higher than a couple of people. I watched some of the other qualifying laps, and I'm like, I think my qualifier was better than them, but they scored higher. So it is what it is. It's a judge sport. You gotta roll with the punches. But being able to see the zones is such a huge thing to me. If you give me a spot to visually see, I'm gonna put it there. I can put it on the wall. I can put it on the edge of a zone if I can see it. But as soon as I can't see it, it's like I'm just trying to visualize where to be, and that's out of everything, of all the competitions that I've done, I would say that is the biggest argument that I've had with one specific place. That is the only issue. Like you go other places and there's issues with everything else, except E-Town. E-Town seems to have their stuff down. I mean, they've done it. They've been doing it forever. They're, the OGs. But like, that's kind of the only complaint I have of Erie is the zones, the edge of track. You can't see it, and that's the only complaint I have, and they are not very receptive to it. So that's, tough to deal with in an aspect. Like it's like you to me, You expect us to. This is a professional feeder series. You're expecting us to be at a professional level, and you're not giving us a professional driving surface, essentially.
Right.
Do you have
So that's the only complaint I have with it. Everybody's super nice there. Dave's a great guy.
Mhm.
AJ's a nice guy. You know, they're all great people, but it's like it's very frustrating from a driver's perspective of not being able to see where I'm trying to go, and then you expecting us to put it on the edge of the track when we can't even see the edge of the track.
So do you have suggestions on how they could make it like better?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like just different color paint would help. White on that surface that Erie is tough to see to start with, and then just paint them darker. Like, you know, if they were to paint them darker, or just like paint them and then put chalk over them, or you know, chalk or flour even, I think that would work. But I think honestly, the biggest thing, if you watch like FD or you watch DMCC or E-Town, they just paint the ever living crap out of the zones and make them dark as hell.
Yeah.
Like they don't wear off. But I get where Erie's coming from. They do multiple events. They do multiple layouts. So to have paint lines all over a racetrack, it is, you know, it would cause confusion. So I do get where they're coming from as well. But it's frustrating from a driver's perspective when we're trying to get a professional license and we don't have a professional a professional track to drive on. I guess that's coming off wrong. I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, you know,
I get what you're saying.
you get what I'm saying. Yeah, like you expect us to put our tires on the edge of a line that I can't see. Okay, how's that going to work? So,
in their defense, though, everybody can't see.
Right,
Yeah,
and
right.
I agree. Yeah, well, and that, you know, and that's great, and I get that. It makes it tougher for somebody that doesn't drive there ever, because I don't know any reference points of that place whatsoever, because the only time I drive there is for Pro-Am.
Yeah.
You know, you guys that are there for Mat Series and stuff, you have even though it's in the middle of a parking lot, you have reference points that are based off of this grade over here, this flagpole,
Yeah.
distances off of all this stuff. So it's like there's, you know, I do at Groveton in New Hampshire, I drive there all the time, and you know, there's certain spots that I know I don't even have to think about. I know exactly where I'm at, even if there's no cones. So, you know, they lay out a, you know, a track with cones and chalk, and once it starts turning night and the cones are gone and the chalk's all worn off, I still know where I'm at, just because of reference points. So it's kind of the same thing in my eyes. You know, the guys that drive Erie all the time, but Erie's 9 hours from me. So,
you
know, going out there for a Mat Series, that's a huge budget. So, but yeah, that's the only complaint I have with Erie, is just not being able to see. So it would be sweet if they could change it. I also understand what they have to go through. So
let's get to the fun stuff, because if this is your first episode, I let our friends ask questions to our guest, and sometimes they are unhinged. Let's start with our good friend Ben Bruno. He asked, "Who's his favorite commentator of all time?"
That's debatable. I will say Ben because he asked the question, but no, I like Ben a lot. He's a good dude. He's done a great job. I was really the last round of Pro-Am, that was really cool seeing him walk around the pits and interviewing people. So that was super cool. I think he did a great job with it. So yeah, I'll say Ben.
Oh, Ben.
It's highly up in the air between Ben and Sarah. So.
Oh yeah. Grind Hard Holland asks, "Is his motor really a 4.8 or is it actually a VQ turbo?"
So that's Cody. That's my teammate. I tell you what, if Cody would grow a set of balls and build a comp car,
I like that.
He would absolutely. He would be a top FD driver in my eyes. He drives a completely stock G35 with, I think it's got BCs and a GK Tech mini kit on it. It's a rev up G35 sedan, and he puts it on every single person he drives with door, every lap. The stuff he does with that car is mind-boggling. I've never seen somebody drive the way he does. It's really cool. I wish he would do comps. I wish he would build a proper car, because he would absolutely like dominate competitions.
Well, what the heck, man?
But it is a 4.8.
Oh. All right. Our good friend Jacob Schuster asks, where did the carburetor hurt him?
Oh, it hurt me in the same place your hurt me in the same place your chisel and stone did. Cavemen be writing stuff.
Schuster, dude, it's 2026.
We love Jacob, though.
Grow up, dude.
And all his wild choices.
Yeah, the car's sick. It sounds really cool. But yeah, I mean, dude, like you could put MPI on that thing pretty easily, and probably make a lot more power. And I can hear myself think in the pits while I'm trying to work on my car, instead of listening to you just rev the shit out of
your carburetor.
Tuning your carbon shooter. And you know what else you could do? You could put it on ethanol and actually like keep it a little cooler.
Yeah, Schuster, what the heck, man? Get your shit together. Eric Andres asks, how does it feel to be the second member of the Turbo C5 Yellow Door Club?
It's pretty awesome. It's a club. We have meetings every Thursdays at 9:32, and it's a New Balance Jort only club. But yeah, no, it's pretty solid.
I'm assuming it's just the two of you.
I don't know. I have both of us have Turbo C5s, and they're yellow door cards. Like so, I feel like that is a super normal thing, is the yellow doors. There's been like 6 people that I know with Corvettes with gutted doors that the doors are yellow. So it looks terrible. I really need to paint them or do something with them, because it's like my car's got a super cool wrap on it, and then like from a drone you can just see this yellow door card. It's like, why?
I honestly love the wrap on your car, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Thank you. It came out so good. I'll shout out Alex Frankie Designs. He designed it, and then Getty Graphics. They did delivery. They did all the vinyl on it, so it came out so good. I'm so stoked on it, and yeah, it's actually kind of a throwback to one of my carts as I was from a kid.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right, Richie Richie asks, ask him why he chose a Corvette and not build a really cool E46.
Well, I'm a big American car guy. I was literally getting ready to go buy an E46 when I got the Vet. Like it was the day after I picked up the Vet was my plan to go buy a Beamer, and then the Vet came online for sale, and I'm like, I know the car. The coupes arguably look better than the hatches.
Oh, I totally disagree, but
100%.
Oh man, no. So I liked the car. I knew who owned it, and it was a pretty good price. And I didn't really have the money, so my girlfriend helped me out a little bit. So we went and picked it up, and yeah, that was that. So I drove a couple E46s. I drove an E36 as well. I drove Troy Puccini's E36.
Okay.
And that thing shredded. I was like really surprised by it. And that was like a stock 6-liter, I think. I think he had a 6-liter in it. But it was a stock motor, and I was like, wow, this thing like fucks. And I was like, all right, these chassis are really cool. I like them. I found one for like super cheap money. It was a roller. So I didn't I was going to swap essentially the drivetrain out of the Caddy into it. And yeah, the Corvette just it's more my style. Like, it's an American car. It just, I don't know. It's just my thing. And I'm really happy I did, because the car matches my driving style a lot.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a foot to the floor, want to be on throttle all the time, like just huge angle, foot buried, and that's the way the Corvette wants to be driven. So I'm stoked that I did it.
He has a follow-up question. Why doesn't he have a fanny pack to hold all his snacks in the car?
I will plead the fifth on that one.
Christopher Potter asks, between being a part of the stunt riding community for so long and now drifting, what are positive negatives you both that you feel both communities deal with that are similar to one another? A good follow-up to this would be, do you ever see yourself getting back into a stunt bike?
All right. So, first part to that question, similars are the camaraderie within drifting and within stunt riding. Everybody, when you go stunt riding, whether it's a street ride, whether it's a lot event, everybody's super awesome, willing to help each other out. It's everybody's trying to, help push each other a little further as well. Those are definitely similarities. Also, another kind of side of that is, obviously stunt riding is one of those sports that is looked at a lot of times in a negative light because of the big ride outs and stuff like that you see, on the internet. A lot of people will, will dog them because of the big ride outs and stuff, but they're doing it in the most safest way they can do it in an illegal form, I guess. Mm-hmm. Obviously, on our side, takeovers are one of those things that we get associated with in drifting. So they're both shedding bad light because of it, I would say. I got out of stunt riding at a time where there was some people in big ride outs that were like, getting in accidents and pulling people out of cars and stuff. So it was really bad light for the scene. I think it's been turning around a lot in recent years, with more legal rides, with track rides, stuff like that. So I would like to hope that it's hopefully getting shed in a better light. But yeah, those would be the two things I would say they're the most similar about them, is just, the camaraderie and the way they're perceived from an outside perspective. But as far as differences go, and I guess I'll say too, like, stunt riding helped me learn drifting, made me pick up drifting a lot quicker than a lot of other people. Like I was able to drift my Harley, like, all gas, no brake. I was just, throttle and swinging it. So that translated into a car really quickly. So, and then hand-eye coordination is such a huge thing too. Mm-hmm. But differences go, yeah. I mean, there's not really, I just different sports, mm-hmm. I guess. And then I would like to get back on a bike at some point. However, I'm old and I don't bounce the way I used to.
Same, brother. Same.
So yeah, I mean, I've got videos back like 2019 where I'm literally like, from a wheelie falling on my side and just getting up, picking the bike up and, riding some more. It's like, it hurts me to watch that now. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's like one of those things. I would want to. I got rid of my bike this winter to help fund the vet. Yeah. But I don't know if it'll ever happen. If I do, it'll probably be, I know, like, my buddy Stunner Society, Zach, he puts on a legal ride at Palmer Motorsports Park every year, and it looks like such a sick event. They have, like a burnout pit where they're all, the guys that are, sliding their bikes get to slide their bikes, and then they do like full-blown track rides where they're just all ripping wheelies around the track and stuff. So it's super cool event. I would like to go to one of those, even if it's just riding a bike, not even like stunning it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I would say to that. Is maybe if in the right circumstances, if I'm feeling okay that week.
All right, Paul Bonnet asks, whose door does he want to cave in?
Oh, Paul's.
Yeah.
But so funny enough, back to from the stunt riding thing. Paul, I met Paul through stunt riding. So I stunt rode with him a few times, and then he came to a drift event 3 years ago and rode in me and Cody's car, and he got hooked. So he just started last year, was his first year drifting. He got a HR 350Z, and he sim drifted for a winter, and then got the Z and instantly picked it up. He's been shredding, but he's a mad shit talker in my group chats, and yeah, I'm like, your doors are toast, buddy. Like, you're all done. So I've tagged his door a couple of times. Cody, Paul ended up getting on our team progression, and so Cody freaking has caved his doors, and his doors are a mess. I've tagged him a few times, but not nearly as much as Cody.
Love that.
So Tyler Steely asks, when did you get that dog in you?
Oh, dude, I think it's more of a puppy. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know.
Like a little wiener dog or something.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. That dog. I mean, I don't know. I show up. That's it. I just continue to show up.
All right, Cody Litchfield asks him if it's pronounced Eli or Eli.
It's Eli.
Now you know.
Yep.
Opie Hellstrom asks, how did you get into drifting? How long did it take you to learn? Where would you practice? And how do you afford it?
Oh, well, the affording part isn't a thing. I just work harder.
You don't afford it.
No, like, especially this year. This year has been absolutely brutal. Between building the car and as much traveling as I'm doing, and I've got some events coming up that are going to cost a lot of money to do. But so affording them really isn't a thing. It's just one of those things. You just got to try to make enough money to make it happen when you want it to do, when you want to. I got in drifting 2022 as we kind of brushed over, and yeah, I just took my daily driver and went out on the track with it, and then started modifying it from there. Cut knuckles, handbrake, and I picked it up pretty quick. I think it was just my background in stunt riding that helped me out a lot. I mean, stunt riding and oval racing. Just a hand-eye coordination and the ability to adapt to different situations. That really helped me out big time with picking it up.
All right,
I think that was that all his question? Did I answer everything on that?
Yeah, good enough.
Okay.
Final question. Johnson Jones asks, when will your shop have better and more parking?
Oh, Jesus. Probably when I get my trailer out of here for the winter. That'll help. Secondly, when I find a different shop. Finding a different shop would be really nice, but I'm in a really good financial standpoint where I'm at. It sucks. My shop's pretty small. I've got like 2.5 bays. I've got 2 lifts and then a floater bay that has no lift, but it's really laid out horribly. But it also costs like not a lot of money every month. So
we like cheap things.
Yeah, it's a balance. And I run my business out here, so I got like 1 employee. But it doesn't work that well. But it's like such a huge. It literally would be, if I wanted to double my space, it would cost me 3 times as much.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
So yeah, every month. So it's essentially like if I wanted to double my space, I have to immediately fill bays with technicians and work. So And right now, it's a really weird time in the auto industry.
Yeah.
Um, I have enough work, but from a lot of people that I hear from, dealerships are like completely dead. They have like no work. Any work they get in the door is all warranty, and then basically like the other independent shops like me. It's either they are balls to the wall for a week and then the phone doesn't ring for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just nature of the business. Obviously, I think the economy has a lot to do with it. And then here in New Hampshire, we actually got rid of state inspections this year, so there's no inspections on vehicles. So a lot of people are neglecting their vehicle because they don't need to get it looked at.
Oh
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
it seems to come in waves where their stuff is completely falling apart. So you have a parking lot full of like, you know, big jobs, and then you get those fixed, and then it's like a break, and then it's another wave of like, you know, a couple $1,000s worth of work tickets because everybody needs like brakes, ball joints, and their car's completely falling apart. So it's just like I think everybody that usually gets their stuff looked at once a year because it's forced upon them is now just neglecting it, and to the point where they're like, oh, something's wrong with my car, and you're like, yeah, there's a lot wrong with your car. So yeah, I think everybody will get it figured out, but it's just weird times.
And now, before we officially end this episode, is there anything you'd like to shout out or say? Or
Yeah, I mean, definitely shout out to you guys for having me on here. This is cool. This is the first podcast I've done, so I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
yeah, thanks for being
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I'm kind of a motor mouth. I can talk anybody's ear off. So it was kind of cool to definitely chat with you guys. But yeah, no, I mean, I had so many people help support me this year throughout the winter and everything. My girlfriend, again, she's been a huge supporter of mine, both financially and just being there for me. My buddy Mike, he's my spotter when we go to every comp that we do. He's my spotter, and my kind of crew chief. I'm gonna say he's very OCD and analytical, so he always has different ideas, and he's trying to learn. He comes from the oval track world as well, so he's very knowledgeable and smart with chassis setup and stuff. So, but he came up. He's 2.5 hours south of me, and he came up 10 times this winter to help me build the vet.
Dang.
So huge help there. Super good dude. I've got a handful of friends that came up and helped me over the winter. And then I mean, all my partners. I had a ton of companies jump on board this winter. Vibrant Performance, Fuel Lab. They helped me out last year. They helped me out a ton this year. Drift the East. They've been a super big supporter of mine. They put on awesome events. They also have a school, a drift school. So that's super cool. Oh man, who else? Oh, Craig Puss, Distinct Drift. He's been helping me out this year with tires. So appreciate you, Craig.
You also love Craig.
Yep.
Yeah, such a good dude.
Yeah.
Such a great person.
That's awesome, dude.
So, I had who else? Oh, I had my buddy Luther. He's got a shipping container business, so it's shipping containers in New England. So if you're looking for a Connex box, shipping container, whatever you want to call them, they sell them. So they deliver kind of all over the place. So yeah, super great guy. Good business to deal with. I actually bought a container off of him last couple years ago. Just thinking of all the stickers on my car. Truck Trends. It's actually, I'm in their old shop, so they moved out. They bought a bigger building, moved out of here, and I took over the spot from them. But they've got truck bed liners. They're a Fisher plow dealer. So any Fisher parts, plows, anything you need from them, definitely, hit them up. They do accessories as well, so they do, steps and tunnel covers and caps and stuff like that. Getty Graphics. They're the ones that did delivery on the car. They helped me out big time this year. I mean, but between just the quality that the wrap came out at, and then what they did for me, it's I can't thank them enough. That was absolutely awesome what they did. They also have a detail company, Getty Shine, and they do like really nice, really good work. They do PPF. They detail jets and boats and everything.
Dang.
So
Yeah.
they do some really good work. So yeah, definitely shout out to them. Hold on, I feel like I'm missing somebody here. So give me just a sec. I gotta. Oh, Weld Wheels. I don't know how I forgot them. Weld's been a supporter of mine for a couple of years now. I'm hoping that next week I get some more wheels in from them, but we'll see. But yeah, no, I've honestly been so impressed with their wheels for a wheel that's not drift inspired.
Yeah.
They hold up extremely well. Actually, at E-Town this past weekend or last weekend, I ended up dirt dropping, ripping a tire off the bead, and I finished the lap. I was like, I'm finishing it, and the wheel didn't get destroyed. Like, it's chewed up, but it still looks fine. So, and I've hit curbs, I've hit walls, everything with the wheels, and they hold up really well. Been really impressed. They're not bent, they're not cracked. So it's been really cool having them on board and having some nice, billet wheels. So
That's awesome.
And then I should probably shout out my own company.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So.
Since I should probably shout out my own company.
But yeah, if you're in New England or even outside of it, I mean, I get people's cars in from New York and New Jersey. I built a couple of vehicles from people way out of state. But yeah, I build pretty much anything you want. I try to stick generally with American stuff, but I'll build whatever. LSs is kind of our thing, but we've done a ton of Ford motors. We built a 55 F100 with a 7.3 Godzilla and a 10-speed automatic. That was a pretty cool truck.
Hell yeah.
Right after that, we did a 67 fastback Mustang with a 5.4 32 valve supercharged. So out of like a mid 2000s GT 500.
That's what's up.
That was insane. That car was nuts. Those cars don't weigh anything, and it made like I think it made like 560, and it had a manual, and it was wild.
Oh yeah.
So that thing had like fifth gear burnouts down the highway. It was stupid. But yeah.
All right.
That's pretty much all I got. Actually, I do have one other partner that's coming on board. Gilbert Driveline. They've done my drive shafts for years. All of my customer drive shafts, mine for my cars. He's jumping on board for this next round. So definitely shout out to them guys. They do awesome work. They're out of Manchester, New Hampshire, but I'm sure if you need a drive shaft done and they're not local, I'm sure they'll ship it out to you.
That's what's up. All right. Well, it was really great talking to you.
Yeah.
Thanks
for having me.
This episode will be out tomorrow. I'll send you all the links
Sick.
and whatnot. So yeah.
Cool.
Everybody listening, thank you. And listen to the ad right after this, because that's how I get paid. Thanks, guys.
And that's how we're gonna give Eli his $10 every battle he wins.
You gotta put that at the beginning of the podcast. Force everybody to listen to it.
Shh. All right, thanks everybody. We are the Dangerous Knights Drift Crew. This is Eli. Austin really sucks, and goodbye.
Hey.